Hi everybody, this is Penina Taylor and I'm coming to you today with a little piece of Navigating Judaism. Perhaps you've heard of the 5-part course that I'm giving and the spiritual mentorship program that I've got. And many of you are familiar with the classes that I give on applying the Haftorah to our daily lives. But have you ever thought about the word Haftorah and what it is? Did you realize that most of us aren't even pronouncing it right? That's right. The word Haftorah is actually supposed to be pronounced Haftarah, and it comes from the Hebrew root Pei Tet Resh. Now, you might be familiar with other words that come from this root. In fact, have you ever noticed that when somebody passes away, it's not a very pleasant subject, I know, but when somebody passes away, they say that they have passed, right? Or they are a niftar. And that their passing is referred to as a patira. That's because the word Haftorah, Haftarah, with the root Pei Tet Resh, actually means to pass or to be released or that which is coming at the end. And it's very interesting because the word Haftarah doesn't have anything to do with the word Torah. You know, we think about what is the Haftorah. The Haftorah or Haftarah is the reading from the prophets that we read at the end of the Torah reading each week in Shul on Shabbat, right? We read the Torah portion, which is divided into 7, except it's actually divided into 8 pieces. And then that last piece, that 8th piece, what is that called? That is called the maftir. Same root, Pei Tet Resh. The person who reads the maftir himself, is the person who's reading, again, the very last piece of the last reading of the Torah portion, and he will also read the Haftarah, which is the part that comes at the end. It's the passing, it's the end. And it's very interesting, you may be familiar with another word, patur. What is a person who is patur? A person who is patur is a person who is released or exempt from something. So all of these words are related. How did they come to be? How did the Haftorah reading even come to exist? So back in the times, we're coming very close to Hanukkah now, right? Back in the times of the Greek occupation of Israel, the Greek rulers felt threatened by the Jews' law. They felt threatened by the Torah. And in ancient times, and actually even today, the way that conquering kind of worked is you would move in and you would take over a people and then you would take away whatever you could, depending on the group, whatever was important to them, parts of their identity or any other types of law that they might adhere to get them to try to assimilate into your culture. And so the Greeks were threatened by the Torah, which was a law to the Jewish people, and which defined us as a people, and still does, and defines us not only by how we behave as far as our religious observance, but it also defines many of our cultural identities and our national identity. And so they outlawed the reading of the Torah each week. Right? We read through a section of the Torah so that in a year we've read through the entire Torah. So in the time of the Maccabees, in the time of the Hanukkah story, the rulers, the occupiers of Israel at the time, outlawed the reading of the Torah. But we're Jews, and Torah is water for us. It's life, and without the Torah we can't exist. So what are we going to do? Well, the rabbis in all their wisdom, because the Greeks were only threatened by the Torah, they did not outlaw the reading of the prophets, the rabbis decided to take sections from the prophets that had some sort of a connection, except for there are 7 Haftorah readings, plus actually a few more because of what we do on Rosh Chodesh, but with only those few exceptions, certain readings from the prophets that are connected to the Torah readings were taken and they were substituted or exempted the Torah reading through reading of the Haftorah, which reminded us of the Torah portion. Does that make sense? A plane just flew overhead, so I had to make a cut here. But anyway, So to get back to the Haftorah, what happened was we were reading these portions of Haftorah, Haftarah, And then we won the battle, we re-sanctified the temple, and we began to read the Torah portion again. But this time they kept the reading of the prophets that coordinated with the Torah. And so now every Shabbat, not only do we read the Torah portion, but we also read the Haftorah, or the passing, or the addition, or that which exempted us from the Torah reading. But it's read by the maftir, who also reads a part of the Torah, to remind us that all of the things in the prophets, all of these things that we read, they are no substitute for the Torah, because the Torah is the law for the Jewish person. The Torah is the water. It gives us our life. And so now you know what the word Haftorah means and why we read it each week. Have a Shabbat Shalom, and I'll see you next time with the Navigating Judaism series.